Hello, my loves. Welcome back. I hope you've had a good week and are doing okay. I can't believe I restarted this channel and have not yet introduced my notebook ecosystem. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I also have a homemade iced coffee. It's my first time making it at home. It's very watery. If you have any homemade iced coffee tips, leave them below because I love iced coffee. I love me an iced coffee, okay? One thing about me. And I want to be able to make a really good one at home. I started my experimentation today and it did not go well, but I am gonna drink this. So let's get into I wanna say meat of what this video is about, but I don't like that phrasing, so I'm just gonna move on. I have 3 notebooks in my ecosystem. I have my everyday carry, which is also my wallet. I have my morning pages notebook, and then I have my planner and life archive. So I suppose we can start with the morning pages because that's how my day starts. So I have been doing morning pages this is my 12th volume. So it's been just over 2 years now, I want to say, and this is what I have to show for it. You can see that I very much like the A6 size, but I also quite like a pocket size notebook. This one is a bit bigger than an A6. It's not quite A5 though. And I am using it because it came to me for free, in all honesty. That's why I'm using it. It is, let's see, it is an FSC with mixed paper notebook. I don't know. It was branded with Speedball here, and I just covered it up with some recycled paper and then this image I found on Pinterest. And yeah, it's so far, even though there's no branding anymore on it, it's working out really well. I started it just this morning, so I only have 3 pages written. This is volume 12. And basically how I approach my morning pages is like, I write however many pages I need. Basically, I start with the date stamp and then I just write however much I need. I mostly just plan out my day. That's basically how I use my morning pages, or what I use the morning pages for is to put my brain on paper. It's less so of thoughts and more so of planning tasks. But this is how I start my day every day. Not every day. Most days, I'm in here drinking my first coffee and planning out my day. So yeah, that's my morning pages. It's been pretty consistent for 12 volumes now. And that is that. I keep it up on my storage container. And yeah, it has served me so well. All of these books have served me so well. The next book I want to talk about is my everyday carry. I keep it in with my wallet. If you want a more detailed tour of this is just a Hobonichi A6 cover. If you want a more detailed tour of my wallet, I can definitely give it to you. But this notebook I have called my Notes app. It's one that I have made myself. It's pocket sized, and basically I started this on January 31st of this year, and it is a collection of lists, musings, quotes, and etc. I have some decoration here. This is a notepad paper that I designed myself. Some paper haunt moth stickers and some Dear Whoever little bits, as well as some washi tape from Michaels. And that's my decoration on the first page. And then in here I have some things to check out, a list of things that I want to make eventually, some journaling, how to tune a bass by ear, and songs that I want to learn on the bass, which is on pause at the moment. more journaling, a post-it from a pharmacist, notes on things that I need to get, places I want to go, how to get places, more journaling, a packing list, and yeah, that's about all I have in this so far, but it's really just to get me off my phone when I'm waiting, which is why there is as much journaling in it as there is. Ideally, this would just be like lists, quotes, and just a collection of those things, but having the musings in there is honestly not a bad thing. And then the last book I want to talk about is my planner / life archive. This is the biggest change that I have had this year. I actually started in a Hobonichi Cousin Avec, and it served me quite well. However, there were a couple things that came up in this book that made me switch in April. So the first thing is, like, I'm just not a daily journaler. I found it simultaneously too restrictive to have just 1 day per page, and then also it felt like a chore to fill out a page every day. Yeah, suffice to say, I'm just not a daily journaler. And so the things that worked out really well in the Hobonichi Cousin Avec was the monthly calendars and the weeklies. And so I knew I needed a planner of sorts, but with blank pages, completely undated pages. And I don't know why I didn't think of this when I was buying a new planner for 2026. But I decided to switch. Actually, it was a Moonlit Journal video. There was something she said, and I think it was like something along the lines of "don't postpone joy because life is so short." That might actually be the exact quote. But I watched that video of Moonlit Journal switching notebooks, and it made me be like, why am I settling for the Hobonichi when I know logically that a Sterling Ink Common Planner will check every box that I have. It will fulfill all of my journaling needs. And so in April, I made the switch. So yeah, actually, the first thing I have on here is a paper clip, and on it, I have just transferred over the charm that I have, or that I had on my traveler's notebook last year. This is a teddy bear from Michaels. Actually, all of these are from Michaels. It's just I kind of created this one with beads from Michaels and a little charm from that store. And this one is a pre-made charm. I just switched out the jump ring for a silver one because I'm a silver kind of guy. What can I say? So yeah, that's the first thing, is that little charm. And that has made this book feel so much more like home. Little things like decoration like that is surprisingly, it surprisingly makes a big difference in my practice. And yeah, so in the opening cover, I transferred most of this over from either my traveler's notebook or my Hobonichi. And so I just have little bits of decoration. I made this one myself. This is an image of David Bowie from Pinterest. This is my little Sesame Labubu little info card that came with it. This is a Wishbone sticker that I got at the Wishbone concert from another fan. And then this is a Sweater Muppet sticker that says, "If I cannot find trans joy, I shall create it." And then we get into the pages. Now, some of these are blank, and I don't know what to do with them. And they're probably going to remain blank, but that's okay, because for the most part, this notebook is serving me so well. I just have my cycle tracker here in my yearly tracker situation. And then we get into like the quarterly goal setting. It's meant to be goal setting, but I use it as space for a mood board and also habit tracking or symptom tracking. So yeah, this is my winter mood board, and all my habits. And then this one is my spring mood board with my spring habits. I have yet to transfer over May. So it looks like I don't track these daily, weekly, whatever. I do, however, track them on a weekly basis, and then I just transfer over all the data when I have the chance. I just haven't gotten around to it for May yet. And then I do have a little bit of decoration down here at the bottom. But then after these 2 months, we'll be out of this book. So I don't know what I'm going to do with these. Maybe future planning. Honestly, I don't know. They might just remain blank, but yeah. The Sterling Ink Common Planner is similar to the Hobonichi in that you get December's monthly calendar page before you get January. And yeah, these months are blank. It's not that I wasn't planning, it's just that I wasn't in this book. So it's blank up until April, which is when, I think it was April 10th was when I moved into this book. So yeah. This is something I am doing differently in this notebook compared to my Hobonichi. Let me see if I can pull it up. So in my Hobonichi, I was still color coding things. The color code has remained the same. However, I was doing lines up at the top, and it felt like I was settling for that. And so I decided to change it. I don't know why I didn't think of this to begin with, but I am just underlining all of my work, appointments, events, stuff like that. I'm just underlining it all. And I really like the look of it, and it functions really well because I, at a glance, can see what I'm doing. So yeah, those are the monthlies. I don't do any decoration anymore. This is purely just a functional space. I am trying to play around with, maybe in June I will play around with adding some decoration, but we'll see. Right now it's pretty functional and functional only. But then we get into the weekly pages. Pardon me, I just need a sip of coffee. Damn, that's nasty. But yeah, then we get into the weekly pages, and I am using these as a weekly, daily to-do list. So on the very left-hand side here, I have my weekly to-do list, and then I break those down, or I have more day-specific tasks in my little everyday section. So I basically just plan my days in these sections. I time block my time specific things. And then at the very bottom left-hand corner is where I track my symptoms and habits, as I mentioned. So yeah, that's kind of it for the weeklies. It's working so well for me. Like, I wasn't expecting a vertical weekly to work, but I'm really enjoying it. For so long, I was a horizontal weekly person, or I used to bullet journal, and so I would play around with creating my own spreads. And I never played around with a vertical weekly like this. it feels too narrow sometimes, but at the same time, I'm learning to work with it. So yeah, I do have the Midori index tabs to tab off my current month and my current week. And also, the next tab I have is kind of where it starts to get interesting. So I have a summoning square inspired by Megan Rhiannon, and this is basically my like bucket list of the year. You can see I have made a pretty big dent in my bucket list or my summoning square. I just like the name Summoning Square much more, so that's what I have titled it. I still have 2 to fill out. I have no idea what I want to do. 20 things is a lot for someone who doesn't do a lot. So yeah, that's that. And then I have a books read page where I can just paste in the book covers of every book that I've read. I have recently been in a really big reading slump. I have not read in a long time, but in the spring I did read Heated Rivalry and The Long Game by Rachel Reed. Yeah, that's all I have to say. They were enjoyable, they were fun, but that's all they are for me. And then we get into my 2026 playlist. This is every song that I have added to a playlist since January. So January was a big month. I think I had like all of these songs added in January. I've slowed down a lot in my music consumption. Not a lot has been released. But yeah, I'm just keeping track of every song I add. I just think it'll be fun to look back on and see what I was listening to in the moment. And then we get into my quote-unquote daily pages. It's been a lot more helpful thinking of it as just my journal pages as opposed to daily, because I'm not in here every day. I can do a quick little flip, some music, things that are currently on repeat. I definitely started every day, and then I really just come in here whenever I feel like I need to say something or I need to get something off my chest, or if there's something I want to track, like the playoff schedule, for example, the MNHL playoff schedule. That's what I call NHL. It's the MNHL because, yeah, the Men's National Hockey League instead of just the National Hockey League. So yeah. This is an example of a page that I have yet to finish. I have listened to these two, but not nearly as much as The Great Divide, and so I haven't quite formulated my thoughts on these yet. But yeah. I think you may have seen some of these pages, but there is quite a bit more to show you. There's still a bunch of work that I have to do. Lots of catching up and stuff like that. But these are my travel spreads here. I have yet to finish them, which is why my blotting paper is in there. More travel spreads to finish. But then after that, I'm all caught up. I created a reading list for summer and a knitting plans list. So I'm currently reading The Myth of Sisyphus. Really enjoying it, almost done it. Very excited to learn more about philosophy. And then I also have Agua Viva by Clarice Lispector to read, Orbital by Samantha Harvey, and Rouge by Mona Awad. That's kind of my loose list for reading. And yeah, for knitting, I want to make a top that kind of looks like this. I'm in the middle of making it. It's self-drafted. It's my first ever self-drafted piece. And yeah, this is inspiration from Amazing-ish Grace. She did like just a rectangle of knitting, and I'm doing a little bit more shaping with mine. But I want like a cowl neck top to wear as a going out kind of top. I also want to finish ch.004, and I want to make a tank top. I've decided on the 9 p.m. tank, and I'm really, really into making socks at the moment. So I want to do just a basic rib sock this summer. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at. More playoff schedule. And yeah, the blank pages have been so lovely. I'm having the time of my life, just being able to create however and whenever I feel like it, being able to write however much I feel I need. It's so liberating. So I'm very happy that I made the decision to switch books. So yeah, and then the final thing I have that is actually quite helpful for me is, well, first of all, this Post-it, but then also I have this envelope, and inside the envelope I have a bunch of Pinterest printouts. So these are all printed and ready to go whenever I feel the need to journal. Sometimes I use the images as like journal prompts, and that's been quite helpful. Other times it's just decoration. And then I also have this Instax image that I printed. I took this picture on my DSLR of some of my favorite tapes, and I printed this out so that I could like travel journal and leave space for images that I took on my trip, because I am a creature of habit and print all my images to be like this. Even though I don't print them as an Instax, I let them have the look and illusion of being an Instax Polaroid. That is not how you say that, but that's okay. All right, so that is a little tour of my current planner, and also my morning pages book and my everyday carry, my notes app book. Yeah, I really just have the 3 notebooks. It has been such a breath of fresh air for me to simplify my system. I really feel like I don't need anything else. In fact, I can get away without this pocket notebook and just have the 2. But it's handy. It's handy to have a little notebook on the go. But yeah, this is my notebook system. This is my ecosystem, if you will. Thought I would jump on the trend and also use it as an excuse to show you all, or introduce to you all, what I'm working in, what I'm journaling in. That is all for today. Thank you all so much for watching and spending your time with me. I hope you're having a good day or night wherever you are in time and space, and I'll talk soon.